Dun 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 dun. Welcome everyone again to VO and Stereo. I'm your host, Jared Breshers, along with
Stephen Coghill.
today. I know I say this a lot of episodes. Today has a special meaning for me because without this person, I wouldn't be where I'm at in the industry that we are in. Please help me welcome Jenn Henry,
You just
voiceover
did
artist
that.
extraordinaire.
You just did that. You just did
I
that.
did. You have been my
It-
champion since day one, and without you, sorry, it is what it is, chick. And you're that to a lot of people. So, you little ray of sunshine,
I'm wearing pants and everything. I'm so proud of me.
right? I adulted today.
Golf applause.
I have deodorant on. It's good. It's good.
I knew I
It's
forgot
like-
something.
You're right.
You do smell
My
pretty
son-
good. I smell it.
my son came out the other day. I sent him in to put on deodorant because he stinks, and he he hit the center of the hallway, and he goes, "Oh, I forgot the other one." I'm like, "Oh, that's my boy. That's my boy." Yeah, apples, trees. There you go,
Your
buddy.
random daily posts keep me tickled. But I know they have a creative parent, but up and up for Mr. Steven here.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Hello.
Really
Thank
appreciate
you for
it.
having me. I'm
No, it's great.
just so thrilled to be invited into this, and I don't.
She had no idea why you're here, dude.
I have no idea why I'm here.
Awesome.
I
Well,
have no idea
that's
why I'm
great.
here. But I
We're-
love
you-
you guys, and I just figure if we, any excuse to hang out with you and just chill and chat, I'm down, man.
We are here for you.
Absolutely.
But we do have some questions for you, and hopefully you will provide some answers.
You would not let me touch anything in your backdrop.
That is not true.
It should be.
For insurance purposes only.
it's like
All right, she gets the earmuffs. That's it.
That's it,
just the
man.
earmuffs.
just touch everything.
You just.
Hey.
I did it. I touched it.
It totally looks like an unrealistic backdrop.
It
It
does.
does. I was gonna pull a picture of Mark Grau's studio off the interwebs.
Yeah,
and
you gotta put that in
put
the
that
back,
behind
yeah.
me. Yeah,
Like people
Yeah.
walking around in the back and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
You
I
need
was,
that.
yeah, try to get
You
like
need
real
that.
feet.
Next
like,
time,
like
next
Mark
time.
Grau's or something.
I think I have
Next time.
Terry Crews as a paladin I can send you.
Oh, nice,
Ah.
nice. I like that. It's something coming over behind me. No, this is actually my kitchen. This no, I'm in my booth, but this is a mural that's in my kitchen. So this my
That's awesome.
Zoom backdrop is. It's just not my studio. So.
I got you. I
Relatable to
understand.
both children and adults.
Sometimes we're the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jenn Henry, my first
Yes,
question
dear.
to you. It's a very
Yes.
simple question. Where did you grow up?
Okay. I grew up in Central Florida,
Oh,
in Polk County, which is about in Lakeland, halfway between Tampa and Orlando. So I grew up in a little spot right off of I-4. Anybody in Florida is fully aware of the I-4 funness, and I don't think they finished the construction on that 40 years later. And yeah, so I grew up in Central Florida.
and were you a creative child?
Absolutely, yeah. I was.
Were you an only child, or do you have brothers and sisters?
No, I have this epic sister named Jessica, and she is so cool. She and I have very similar personalities. She's the one that got all of the, I don't know, well sewn together life skills kinds of things, and was always she didn't really have focus issues, and she just is. I want to be just like her when I grow up, basically. she's younger, and I want to be just like her when I grow up. So
she has her stuff together. Is that what you're
she
trying to
does.
tell me?
She's always had her stuff together, and I think her favorite thing is she color codes things
Oh Lord.
because they're there, and owns multiple label makers and things like that. And
OCD.
I have a significant envy of that. So I wonder what
Organizational skills.
she just
It's
all
like
of that
me and Steven.
stuff. Yeah, all of that stuff, and it's really worked well for her. And I kind of lack some of that stuff.
Poor
But
Steven.
I
you
got a little
can't,
bit
it's
of
not
that
regrettable.
myself, so I'm with you.
No, I would never know that from looking at your studio behind you. Yeah.
You about got me on that one.
So,
My goal is to make you snarf.
so you're growing up. You had a sister, and she was younger sister, but you
Yeah.
somehow were a creative kid. And how did that happen?
How did it happen?
Yeah.
Um,
Was it a natural course, or was it something
oh,
that did you meet someone who was creative and
no, it was
influenced you, or
it was a natural course. I just I at the risk of being cliche, I mean it's just me, and I don't think from a social perspective, I always felt really socially awkward. My perspective and sort of approach to things was always different from that of other kids, and then I was bossy and occasionally intolerable, which didn't help things. And um, it just sort of marching to the beat of a different drum rate, it makes the parade look different. That's a really cute cliche, except for the fact that sometimes, if you're not paying attention and you're not beating to the same rhythm, then the parade leaves you, and you sit and, through a lot of your high school by yourself and you read things and play D&D and stuff. So
D&D is awesome.
I know I was the funny looking fella at the D&D table because nerd girls weren't cool then. Now they're cool, but then not so much.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Steven, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, that's the way Steven always.
Could
is.
I be?
No,
Could
I'm
I?
just kidding.
I feel so boring.
No. See, I'm trying to picture this whole Jenn
I just
Henry
feel
as
like
a
everything.
child.
No, well, I wasn't any taller than I am now.
Okay, well that's special and secret to know.
Really represent the lollipops.
No, I really just I look back now. I'm trying to turn my phone off and I can't even do that.
Damn.
So technically inept.
Everybody has a silent button, Susan.
Everybody has
Right
it.
here. I love that commercial.
5:30 in the morning already. That boy ain't right. I'm sorry. What were we talking about? Silent, but see,
We were talking about Jenn Henry playing Dungeons and Dragons, I believe.
Yeah,
You're
that
growing
was
up.
Growing up. I don't know if I ever grew up entirely, but yeah, it was. I didn't grow up in traditionally. I think when people consider a creative environment, I didn't grow up. My mom is creative and would paint stuff and do stuff, but as far as a creative environment where all of that was really fostered, I wouldn't say that I necessarily had that. There were a lot of things that were encouraged. One of the things that was always very cool about my mom growing up is she did not believe in age appropriate learning. So we always had coffee. I was allowed to get into all the books I wanted to.
Nice.
There wasn't anything that I wasn't necessarily allowed to play with in terms of exploring and creating in that sense. And I think that was tremendous in that so I listened to music that was not specifically defined for me, and I can remember being really young, like early elementary school, getting into a cedar chest full of books, and I would just spend hours in those, and they were college textbooks from my parents' days in college. And so being able to explore, I read young, and being able to explore whatever I wanted to was such I think such a benefit to me that it wasn't restricted. So my thought process wasn't hindered. And that was one thing looking back that I think is highly attributable to what I am and what I can do, is just my thought process and approach to things, because I was not restricted by age appropriate learning. And my mom didn't keep me away from other adults. And I had my fair share of saying, inappropriate, out of context things to adults that were taken, because I think largely adults are not accustomed to kids who will engage them. so to
True.
speak.
True.
And so where that worked as a significant benefit in growing into a process of being a thinker, it didn't necessarily help in, we were talking about school and stuff. It didn't necessarily help in an environment and socially where kids, generally speaking, were not adept to that. So I was kind of an odd duck in that respect, and a little bit hyper. So I would dance in line, and and it's a whole talks too much in class, and so that was that. I mean, I think exactly that. I think that describes so many of us to a T. And we go through our lives in our prescribed tracts, so to speak, because I don't think I grew up so much differently than anybody in that regard. And that's why when we find each other, finally, it's just this explosion of weirdness, and everybody's like, oh my God, you're just as weird as I've ever been and felt. And I'm not, and in that, we don't feel as weird anymore.
Exactly.
And some of us have the opportunity to find that when we're kids in theater. I'm not a good singer, and I'm not a really good dancer. And my theater teacher finally, I got thrown a bone. The senior play, I got to be a townspeople. And so it was huge. So I never really quite fit in there with the drama kids where I might have found that social comfort zone and that bonding and that togetherness. So it was so many years before I felt like I was part of something. And in finding this, I definitely dipped toes into it when I got into radio and into rock radio. And then when I found us, or when us found me, and I got pulled into the fold, so many things just were right, and they made sense. And it's just to know that you are part of something that we have in this community, in this industry, that in and of itself creates elevating experiences that, that throws your energy and gives you just momentum into that. See, if you just pull my string, I'll go. You don't.
No, I got
Who
you.
really
Don't have
love
to-
you.
No, but I do want to just kind of interject and say that I want to kind of traverse your road to where you became creative, but then how did you then get a start into what was your first start? I mean, was it radio? Was it VO? Was it?
I think I was always creative, and then finally found performance type place to put it in radio. In 96, I think 96 is when I got my first radio gig. But it was something I always wanted to do. I always wanted to be in radio, and I can remember as far back as junior high or high school, I would have been willing to empty the garbage cans at the local radio station.
So you were a big radio girl then?
I was
growing up?
huge into radio. What one of the coolest, I would practice and play and rehearse. We'll talk about the production side of it. Yeah, I was one of those people, like so many, who had the two cassettes, the two Radio Shack cassettes, and would edit together and create the voice, like interviews and stuff. Right.
Welcome
exactly.
to Jen's mixtape Summer 95.
Number 95. You're forgetting how old I am. Yeah, 80.
But I would even do like the DJ in between. I'd be like,
Absolutely.
hey, you're listening to WNNY and whatever, and say,
Yeah, and
up
try to
next
catch
is Foreigners singing blah blah blah.
Absolutely. And trying to catch those intros where the jock wasn't, hitting the post. And so you could exploit that and, sew them together. So, and I don't think any of us really knew what we were doing. We didn't know we were doing production in our bedrooms at the time. And so, from that age and having that creativity funneled in that direction, it was always an itch, and it was always a bug, and it was always something that I would go above and beyond to do. I think when I got out of I bounced around for a while out of college, and after leaving college, and being asked to leave college, and the
Being
I
asked
mean,
to leave college.
Jen Wilder. Jen Wilder.
Get out.
yeah, apparently it's not a not a hotel. Okay, yeah. I think that the crown jewel of that was I got kicked out of golf class with my roommate and I were taking golf, and we got kicked out of golf class for not taking it seriously, and that was kind of the beginning of the
Do you not have goofy ass pants? You're not taking this seriously.
Well, we had French class right after golf, so we would drink French, what we called French lemonade, on our way to and during golf, which was vodka and lemonade. And so we were really not taking golf serious. It was just a stop across the courtyard on our way to French, which I did not retain any of. So that was college.
You ready to go to class? Hold on, I must wee.
Do you have the lemonade? I can't even.
My father and I built Bushwood.
Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot what the hell we were talking about.
That's all right. I think we're
Did
talking
you have
about
a question?
getting fired from golf class.
I got fired from golf class. I don't think it's prerequisite to working in radio, but probably doesn't hurt. Or those sort of character building experiences. I took a radio 101 class, which was sort of tantamount to, I think it fell into the same classification as bartending school. And when I was in Daytona Beach, and that sort of gave me something to work with, so to speak. And by way of connections, and I ended up in Sebring, which was really interesting. And then down in Southwest Florida. So, and that's where I really, there's a lot of learning curve when I was working teeny tiny market radio, and then made the leap, so to speak, into mid-market radio, and would drive. When I started working for K-Rock, I would drive from Lakeland to Fort Myers. I would drive 3 hours route one way, and I would work Saturday nights on K-Rock and sleep in the production room, and get up and work the Sunday morning wake and bake on K-Rock on Sunday mornings. So,
wow.
And I did that. I did that probably for about a year, and then ultimately ended up on 99X when they had a spot open up. So just, I was not smart enough to listen to people who told me that it was just dumb to think that you could do that. Yeah.
Was there someone that gave you like a break, or was there somebody who influenced
John
you,
Ross. John Ross.
Okay.
Absolutely. John Ross I. Man, yeah, that guy. He hired me at K-Rock. He was the new PD there, and I was the first person that he hired. And he said that there was something, and I was popping fresh. I really had I had the Seabright, the small market experience. I had interviewed with the station about a year prior, and Matt Mangus, the PD at the time, said, get some time under your belt, get some work under your belt, and come back and see me. And when I came back, it was John Ross, and he hired me. And he has been such a mentor professionally, in terms of opportunity. He's an individual who believes that you are only as good as the people you surround yourself with. So instead of surrounding himself with people he always appeared to be better than, he surrounded himself with people he felt just made him look good. And that mentality and that ideology of work ethic, and the dynamic of group and dynamic of team, in just doing everything you can to saturate your environment with talent and good people. And he also told me, which is not something you often hear in radio, if your headstone says something about how good an employee you were, then you've done something wrong. So leave it all on the field, but also try to keep in perspective, what's really important in terms of family and things, life things that aren't work things, because radio can be a little consuming.
Did you enjoy working in radio?
I did. I loved it. I still work. I voice track now, and I still love to scratch that itch, but it's not at all the same as, because I was a rock jock, and I didn't become a rock jock. I was a rock jock who finally found a job doing who I am, and and I worked nights, and just the relationship that people had with the station and the relationship that I had with the listeners was just so tremendous. And I knew, Jared knows the story. I knew that my dreams had been realized and so much had come to fruition when I brought Seven Dust on stage for the first time. And it was so tremendous. First of all, give somebody a stage who loves the stage, and they're in heaven. But when you're working in radio and you have the passion for people and you have the passion for the music, and you are just passion, that's the word that is just so resounding.
It's
And
your world.
It's your world. And when you are standing on stage in front of 10,000 people, and you have a band in the wing, they're not there to see you, they're there to see the band. And you're there to see the band, and you're there because of the band, and you're there because of the 10,000 people that are in the audience in front of you. You become a conduit for that energy.
Lightning rock.
And nothing feels like that. To feel the energy of them and that passion and what has brought everybody there together. And you look out over a sea of 10,000 people at a rock show with Seven Dust as your headliner, and you don't see anything but human beings brought together, drawn together from wherever they've come from. And in an area that's very diverse, like Fort Myers in Southwest Florida, there is nothing more effing beautiful than to stand in front of 10,000 people brought together by the love of one thing. And guess what? That one thing is standing behind you. You can't describe what that feels like in that moment. And Seven Dust, I've loved those guys for so many years, my heart, my soul. And there was in that moment, and LaJean Witherspoon is so gracious and wonderful and just a beautiful human being. And these guys hit the stage, and everything just went batshit beautifully awesome, crazy. And if anybody ever wondered, because there's a lot of crazy, transient, weird stuff that happens in radio, and that moment really just encapsulates what made anything in radio all worthwhile, and why I can never go back to that, which kind of makes it more precious, and so I always hold those days dear. And that is the radio I miss, that is largely non-existent today. So I'm very grateful to have had that experience in the time that it happened, and ultimately that that created, at least mentally, a door for me to get into VO, because I was sort of backup production director. I did a lot of the production. I was the production director for a brief period of time for a couple stations in the cluster. So coming into VO, that was hugely helpful from the production side. It took a couple of years to blow the DJ stink off of my VO.
But how did you make the transition? What was the catalyst that brought you from radio to voiceover?
The birth of my kids, my son, the birth of my oldest,
The babies.
I really got my eyes opened in 2008. Was it 2000? Late 2007. um the broadcast company I worked for had a bloodletting very similar to what you see on par with other annual Christmas
Mhm.
seasonal bloodlettings with other broadcast companies, where the market gets flooded. But this was the first. It was a small, so to speak, company by comparison, and just things it really didn't see it coming until it happened. But when it happened, the chips fell. They basically flipped the house upside down and shook. My boss and mentor of however many years, a decade, was let go, and it was like,
Wow.
whoa, whoa, that what? Yeah. And I was ultimately escorted out the back door of a station that I like my life, my identity, everything was just poured into that. And it was chilling. It was chilling. And I think not so much the being excused, because I kind of saw that coming, but that they had the balls to walk me out the back door with my shit.
Yeah, that's
As
really
though
demeaning.
I would be some sort of a threat. Like I would, debulk the hard drives on my
In
way
all
out.
fairness,
Right.
how much
Yeah.
coffee did you have, and did you have katanas on you at the time?
Not at the time.
Well, then I could
But
definitely see no reasons.
no reason. Yeah, I'm small, but I'm wiry. I get that. And don't get me wrong. I had some throat punches I would have been happy to throw. But I would never have done anything to harm what I loved so much, which was that station, which was 99X. And
That's my station too. I mean, here in Atlanta,
in Atlanta,
was
right.
our, it was the
Right.
same thing. So it's so funny that I've heard you so many times before meeting you, and we share so many of the same
No. I
passions.
was 99X in Fort Myers.
Oh, they didn't share that at the same time?
Nope, not a different. Well, now we did have we had Anthony Prophet Roach from
Yes,
99X ultimately
Roach.
carrying. I went to junior high school with him. We grew up
Really?
in the same town. Yeah. That's
Well, I love
probably a
him.
different
He let me
podcast.
meet 311. So
Oh, right, there you go. Yeah, he's a good dude. He's actually I think he's the PD now of 93X in Fort Myers. There was just recently a move around. John is anyway, however they did it. But yeah, he's still down there. So he's rocking and rolling.
Great. So your kids were born, and you
Yes.
got kicked out of the station. Hey, that's all right. I'm here to keep everything back
You
on
are
track.
keeping everything back on track.
thanks,
And
Dad.
so how then you're at home
I
with the
moved to the
kids?
Keys.
You're out of
No, the kids weren't born yet.
Okay.
Long story too long. Somebody who worked with the station took a PD ops manager position down in the Keys. My guy and I moved down to the Keys. I got pregnant with my oldest about 12 seconds after we unloaded the truck.
Yeah,
After
moving makes you horny.
well, I am not moving to, because I got pregnant with my second just after we unloaded the truck here, so I'm never moving again.
Say Ottoman.
Yes, apparently moving makes me pregnant.
Apparently.
We did clearly we didn't know what caused it, so
Like
yeah.
we got to the other side. We got something we didn't start with.
Gives a whole new
Surprise!
meaning to 2 men in a truck.
Yeah, you're a funny guy. The
He tickled himself. Look at he tickled himself, boy. He done tickled himself.
I'm like a tickle me fat Elmo. Oh, I'm
Oh
sorry.
lordy.
I'm gonna snarf.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
gonna snarf. Lying.
Anyway, I moved to the Keys, and I'm convinced to this day that the reason that all came to pass was so I'd have really good insurance before everything went to shit and my son was born.
Like there's nothing wrong with living in the Keys, though.
Yeah, no, you know what? There's some weird experience. Really the nasty side of radio. I learned the nasty side of radio when I was working in the Keys, and also met the most beautiful people that I'm still in contact with today from that station. Just amazing relationships, and there is something about the Keys. They're magnetic ley lines or something. There's just the Keys are amazing, weird and wonderful and amazing. So then we moved up here to Cape Cod because that's what people do. They move from the Florida Keys to Cape Cod.
I thought they went the other way. I thought they went up.
Yeah, I know.
Down.
Who does that? Who does that? So I'm a little backwards. And I just decided that after what happened with the radio station, the Keys, that I was not going to let anybody define my livelihood anymore. And it was definitely not an easy road, but I just, financially literally started with nothing. My mentor, John Ross, helped set me up with a starting setup few have the opportunity to start with. I mean, I'm working on the same 416 that he sold me way under cost, at the time in the full setup. And that really just those relationships and meaningful relationships with people, love people sincerely and deeply and really, don't hang out with somebody just because you think that they can get you a job or they can get you work. Number one, people can smell bullshit and it's not going to help you. But what experience as a result of letting somebody know you is a big deal. It's cool and interesting ways to learn how to see yourself. And that was as much a building process as anything else, as giving myself permission to understand authenticity and stuff like that and being okay with it. There's literally absolutely nothing to lose, but nothing. So there was nowhere but up.
Yep. So how did the VO thing come into your horizon?
I just decided.
You just said, "Hey, I'm going to do voice."
I just decided I was not going to I was not going to put the kids in daycare. They were, miracle babies to begin with. And I had decided early, when we found out I was pregnant with Aaron, whatever we have to make work. I just didn't want to go that route. I wanted to be with them, and so I could completely smother them and make them dysfunctional. And
Mama bear.
I can't do that unless they're with me all the time. And
Mission complete.
Yes, mission accomplished. Oh, it's a long process. It's a long
no,
process.
I got you. It's an ongoing thing.
Yes, and 11 years. I'm in sleeper mode now. Just
yep,
a little.
Yep. It's yep.
We laugh at people and be like, "You only have one child?
Yeah.
You're not even playing the game." Oh, your child's not special need like ours? You're not even trying.
You're not even trying. You don't know the fun you're missing.
You've never come home to peanut butter spread everywhere for no reason other than it's pretty.
It's pretty.
And
yeah.
it smells nice, Father.
Yes.
Oh, I fed the goldfish milk while you were gone too.
Yes. And it all makes perfect sense to them. And it's hard to, but you know what? You know what you realize through the eyes of a kid with unique challenges and special needs? They're not wrong. And you have to learn to sort of understand and rationalize why they're not wrong. And also this was not okay because well spread peanut butter is pretty and it does smell good. Shit.
It makes a good mural for the wall. You can just smear it on there and write some positive words on it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So you find, I think that really lends to the creative energy of any household in that when you have kids, because kids do weird things, special needs or challenges or not, kids are weird and they smell funny, no matter what's going on, because they're trying to figure stuff out while you're trying to figure stuff out. And hey, look, peanut butter. Like, oh.
So you figured you had you decided you're going to do voiceover because something.
Are you really just gonna? Are you just
Me? Yeah, I'm.
Okay.
This is me.
You're the man. You're the color-coded guy.
This is what I do.
You have no idea how badly I want to wait for you to leave the room and then just turn one of those guitars. You understand that, right?
That's fine. That's fine. I'll tell you where I live.
Painful.
You can come visit.
I've been in that room.
Painful.
It's epic.
How do you not do that? I do that. I go to my sister's and I crack open like every third cabinet in our house.
Just to look.
No, just to
irritate
just
her.
to make her crazy. Yeah.
I see.
Like I'll move things. I'll move her toilet paper into someplace different. Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I'll just put everything back when you're done. I'm
You,
fine with it.
That's
yeah,
what he
but
does.
you.
Oh, I love you, Steven.
I know. I love you too. They wouldn't know I took that whole thing apart back here and took this whole and put it all back, and no one ever noticed.
Mhm.
That was this morning's fun.
Yeah,
But
because to everybody else it looks exactly the same.
exactly, unless you see
But you
previous
know it's different.
episodes, you'll see
No,
previous episodes. You know, go. I see a difference in the background.
no. But we appreciate that you do, and we love you for it.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
What
So
the
you
hell were
just
we talking about?
so you decided that you had kids. You didn't want to abandon them and go.
Yeah, I didn't decide that I
you
had kids. I mean, it was
Well,
made
well, okay.
blatantly
You had
apparent.
kids. I'm not.
There
Let's
was,
get, let's take the
I mean,
decision part out because that's a
yeah,
whole other story.
yeah,
So you have kids. You're
yeah,
not in the
they're
station
there.
anymore. You're trying to figure out how am
Right,
I going to support my family. So you figure I'll do
right,
voiceover. I can do it from home.
right.
Okay,
That was a
so
great idea. I recommend that to anybody.
it's a perfect start to the voiceover. So
Piece of cake, right? Yeah.
exactly. So how does that happen? How do you go? Okay, how do I start my VO career? What was your first
I
step?
think it just, I mean, just, I had worked with, at the station, this was still way back at the time where people were doing like Voiceover Miami, where, you know, Voice 123 was viable. And even when I worked at the station, my friend Alexis, she was part of Voice 123, and probably if not for her and her involvement with Voice 123, I would not have had any kind of a foothold whatsoever on the knowledge of that landscape and the opportunities to become involved through online casting. I mean, I'm sure I would have figured it out, but it would have taken longer for it to occur to me.
And I'm
Um,
sure back then there wasn't like coaching and that sort of thing to kind of help
I
you
think it was
along.
a different I think it was a different world. I mean, the coaches were available even, when I remember seeing Alexis on the site. And it's funny because I remember the audition that she was doing. And if it were something more maybe it would not have stuck in my mind. But this, back at that time, I mean, we're talking 2000, it had to have been 2007. Um, Voice 123 was starting to hedge into some pretty heady stuff. They had really significant castings at the time, and um not that they don't now, but that was my first impacting memory of Voice 123 and understanding the whole um opportunity that lived there for me. And that ultimately is between Voice 123 and a contractor site that was at the time called Elance. That's really going back. And I started my voiceover career with $10 and an internet connection. And
I didn't say I had a computer now, mind
I
you.
did no, I just
I
stood
just
out.
plugged it
I
into the
just
wall and
yeah,
hope for the best.
I stood outside and yelled. Um
Yelled into the Ethernet side.
just yelled into the ethernet, and it just got caught on and it landed,
That
bitches.
was the first
Good.
source connect that was
That was the
available.
first source connect.
What?
And that's where it was. And I've been on kind of a slow, I don't want to say slow burn, because I've had opportunities that um are just mind-boggling to me. I am always the kid in, I'm the kid in left field who catches the ball, shielding their eyes from the sun, and
Same
the,
with
and the ball lands
butterflies.
in my gloves. Yeah. And being surrounded and being brought into the fold. That's another thing. Being brought into the fold by the people who brought me in and created this incredible net for me to be brought up right in the industry, to be brought up in the industry with significant values and integrity and things that are an integral part of me. I found people who complemented and fostered that. And so I I didn't know for a long time that until I just sort of started moving through, I don't know if moving through the ranks, but just moving into different aspects and areas of the work, that there were certain things that were legitimate commodities, so to speak, because they were just sort of an integral to me. And then these things were identified and fostered by the people who brought me into the fold, like Anne Ganguza and Joan Baker, Rudy Gaskins, David Rose. Just the list is unbelievable. J. Michael Collins, and just, uh, people who are dear friends who simply represented what worked for me as a human being. And I was able to see it in application from the industry standpoint. I think to a degree, because of that bubble that sort of formed around me, um, which I will never understand and always be just insurmountably grateful for. Um, it allowed me the opportunity to grow as a performer and as a human, and be authentic without compromising things that to me are just basic human values. And this stuff, um and then I reached a certain level, if you will, or I stepped into new playing fields and learned quickly that decent human attributes are a big deal, and if you can keep it as simple as just do your job. Just do your job, show up on
I think you're trying to say, don't be a dick.
don't be a dick. That's one of my mantras. Just don't be a dick. That's don't be a dick. It's okay to not like things. It's okay. Just don't be a dick about it. It's okay to not like things. Don't be a dick about the things you don't like.
Do you have any grapes?
Yeah. And he waddled away. Waddle. Okay, yeah. We're gonna break
Can of worms.
brain.
Steven will reach through here and choke me.
Us both.
You're like, Paw Patrol, you son of a bitch.
I'm not even getting the references. This is how bad.
Yeah,
I know.
I don't watch TV. I pretty much.
He really
the
does
duck
not
song,
watch TV.
That's okay. The duck song is totally different from.
I don't watch commercials.
Does he know the duck song?
No.
I doubt it, but
No.
I tell you what,
I don't have children.
He needs to.
the week
Yeah,
up
but
to
you
Steven's
still need
house
to learn
was
the duck
probably
song.
one of the most peaceful, like instrumental, nice music, jammy. Just you kind of forgot about TV, and then like I think it was like Thursday. You're like, we hadn't watched any TV, and I was like, are you sure?
Are you sure?
It's a good thing to get away from. Trust me.
Absolutely, it really is.
I like to travel and go to events and stuff so I can sit at a table and people bring me food. And I can just say thank you. And nobody at the table with me. I don't have to care if anybody at the table with me eats their food or not.
I wish for those days again.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Like
Like
Jen, like we were talking about before, last hurrah was the Get Your Game On convention in LA.
I almost didn't go to that. And that
I'm glad you did.
I am too. That was a huge one of those universal follow your gut kind of. When I travel, I don't travel last minute because my world just really is not set up for last minute travel. And I did. I decided and I went. And it was not, it was significant because of what came out of it. I needed to be there. And what I took away from it was just insanely cool. And it was an incredible few days, a breakneck whirlwind trip. And you and I sat in the back of the room and were inappropriate and sent texts to people who didn't know it was it was Everett. That was Everett.
The three of you.
Everett kept.
It was Everett Oliver. Yeah, he was messing.
Oh
with
yeah,
me.
all of
Lord
us were.
have
Yeah,
mercy.
yeah. We were
He
the.
was coming to visit me, and so he was texting us, and while he was on his way.
But then he was texting people in the room too and hiding behind us. But
Correct.
that's
And
another thing
hiding
altogether.
behind us.
Yeah, we were just the kids in the back of the class that didn't. I mean, we were paying attention. Like if you had quizzed us,
Oh yeah,
if you had
definitely.
quizzed us, we caught everything. But that's sort of the nature. I think it's probably the nature of us as well. We're the asshole kids in the back of the class making the noises, and we can take the test and we'll pass the test. Like we got this.
That's
We
true.
got this. And
That's
also, yeah,
Exactly.
and so. And, so that was us, and then we got on planes, and the world closed behind us.
It really did. It was like the last hurrah.
Very, very literally, the world closed behind us.
Yeah.
We it was the first weekend of March, and I got off the plane in Boston, and I think that Friday or the following Friday, my kid's school closed. And so to have had that experience, to take away from that experience what I did, and the opportunities that came as a result of my having been out there, to have the world completely shut down behind me as I got on a freaking plane. And the thing is that's not hyperbole.
No, I felt the same way traveling home. I was like, this is so
That
weird.
was it.
I felt like things were ending. Like this was like I wasn't really going to be coming out anymore, and
No.
it was going to be pretty much it.
So to have that sort of also landmark what transpired after is kind of equally significant. And it definitely and just seeing the people that I got to see that I would not have seen otherwise. And because I think so many of us are experiencing, especially right now, because right now is when so many of us would be planning our trips to LA. In the spring, when we were on pins and needles waiting to see what was going to transpire with Camp VO in Austin, and then to London for the One Voice conference, and then VO Atlanta.
I know, it's very frustrating.
You know, because we need us. Maybe some people don't need us, but I need us.
We were all going to be there.
It's like the end of the Labyrinth movie. If you ever need us, I'll always need you, Huggle. And then everybody jumps out and starts hugging each other and dancing. It's the same damn thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Labyrinth? Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
kinda.
Well, I was.
So-
I'm sorry. I was thinking of me and
No, I know. It was bringing back good
Different
times.
Labyrinth.
I
it was
understand.
good.
But so on that same subject,
I want hoofs. Can I have dainty hoofs?
Yes, you can have whatever
please,
hoops
sir,
you
can
love.
I have some more?
Please. I want to be a centaur, but
want to
half
be a
motorcycle at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yes, I'd like to be a centaur with dainty hoofs and a Harley fat boy.
Oh, would be beautiful.
What?
Saddlebag.
Never before has a girl wanted more saddlebags.
What's all this then?
Please, sir.
Can I have some more?
Oh,
we did.
Stephen, don't
I
make
know.
it weird.
I
Oh,
We can-
Stephen,
we
don't
can-
make it
way too late. It's way too late for that. We're way down.
How
the-
many chuggers do you have to do become before the choo choo? Okay, it's 3. Son of a bitch. All right.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, now for something completely different.
Yes. Well, since we're talking about COVID and VO, has that affected your rate, or has it affected your workload, or
Yeah.
different jobs you're getting, or has it completely turned off the tap, or is it completely opened it up?
No, it completely opened it up. It completely opened it up. With
Sonny Purdue.
I don't I think I believe that a lot of VOs are experiencing some conflicting emotions. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is because the whole world's on fire and people are in detrimental situations. So I can't allow myself to express or fully experience the joy and gratitude and gratification the of some circumstances that have been created for some of us. And bad time to try to get into VO, I believe. However, I feel like people who were established at the time, definitely were well positioned for a betterment in their circumstances. And I'm not using euphemisms. I don't want to be insensitive. Because for some people, everything shit the bed
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
true.
So I don't want to jump around and do cartwheels for the success that has found me throughout the course of. Also, I have worked from right here in a very surreal. It's been very, very surreal, because very, very little changed about my day-to-day life. Like virtually nothing. My kids were home. That's what was different. My kids were home and my workload increased, and the kinds of jobs, because there have been more opportunities also. I have broadcast quality audio right out of the box, Source Connect, when all of this happened. So the turnkey talent, I think, were in a position to see more opportunities that they might not have otherwise. And for that reason, things have been significant. Also, it kind of sounds silly, but in not traveling, the that's a penny saved is a penny earned as well. So
True.
I would rather have gone to Austin, London, LA, and Atlanta, but in the meantime, we can take that and do beneficial things with it as well. So just from a work perspective, revenue wise, volume wise, the type of work that I'm doing is significantly greater than it has been to date. I think I've done 5 or 6 games.
Yes.
I just booked Jared, you're gonna love the one that is on its way out. It's called Empire of Sin. I don't know if you've seen the trailers for it. That's cool. The work that this game is it's gonna be awesome. It's coming out in November, so that's gonna be cool. And play
And
gangsters.
are you doing any political stuff?
I am.
Okay, great.
I get to hear it.
I
I get to hear it every day.
Every
I hear
day.
Jenn's voice every day.
Okay, so I have some stuff airing in Atlanta. And they do too. They just
It's so funny how you get to start hearing your friends and then you get to pick them out.
I do that with commercial work. I'm like, well, hey, I didn't book that, but so and so did. It's somebody I know did. So that's a cool, fun thing too. If you get into this environment and you understand that when you don't book something, you are not being personally rejected. 200 people have auditioned for this.
And you don't know what they're looking for.
One person has booked it. That doesn't mean 199 people have been personally rejected because they suck. It just means that one person's going to book it. Okay.
They like that voice. That was
that's
what
just what worked. And the tangent, sorry, the new Coca-Cola commercial and specs. And I just love the reminders that we get about authenticity, let rip, give them a take that is as close to spec as you can, and then give them do you, because that Coke commercial, gorgeous Coca-Cola commercial, the one about the meals, that spec originally came out for middle-aged or older female. Gravitas was one of the keys to it. You hear that ad, and I don't know if you can pull it up. you hear the voice of the talent, and just with the timbre age of her voice, she might be tapping 30 in the age range of the voice, but she has gravitas without the weight that we usually associate with the word. And honestly, having heard it, it's like, yes, yes, and it makes so much sense. And you know what? Probably when the CD hit play, it's not what they were expecting to hear. But this talent was so dialed into what she's doing that, and this is just guessing. There's obviously everything has a different process, but she didn't sound the same as every other middle-aged woman who auditioned for the spot, or every other woman who auditioned for the spot sounding middle-aged, sounding 40 plus. And that is so key to just do and know that they're going to know, even if it's not what they originally had in mind for something, they're going to know it when they hear it. And if you deliver that, then you deliver that. If you don't, that doesn't mean that you suck or that you're horrible, probably, but it just means that it's not. It's just, it's sometimes it's not you, sometimes it's them. It's, with any relationship, understanding, and then you just keep doing, and you just keep doing, because if I'm like so many other people, I have 200 auditions and I didn't book shit. That will start to be disheartening and so forth. And I'm very grateful to not have that experience. It's been a minute since I did 200 auditions and didn't book anything.
Right.
So my booking ratio is a little higher than that right now. And
That's awesome.
it's just be grateful for the trenches, the blue collar, the blue collar stuff. Sometimes the sexy stuff comes around. I just got to do a sexy one that I can't talk about, but I'm pretty stoked. But it was I'm shocked. Yeah. And I hope that I always have a sense of shock and wonder when really sexy things work out.
I don't think that's going to be a problem for you.
I don't know what you
That's
mean.
just kind
I
of
don't know what you mean.
who you are. You're just full of wonderment. The way you speak is very eloquent. A lot of that was I just learned about the college thing, the books. That's where picked up on that. The way you write and the way you speak is different from a lot of people, and I think that's one thing that makes you super unique. And the way you care about people.
How else do you do stuff? I guess
You know what? It
nothing.
makes sense to me.
I guess other things just don't make sense to me, and that doesn't make me humble. It doesn't make me. I don't think it makes me unique, or that it should make me unique. I feel like sometimes people are afraid to appreciate need and understand the joy of giving. It's really selfish. I think caring about people in general is kind of a selfish pursuit, and not in that there is anything, not because of seeking any kind of direct reciprocation, because that's not how it works. I mean, if I can facilitate a need anonymously, that is always my preference. That is, always my preference,
You're a
because
sneaky little
there
unicorn.
there's
That's
more
the unicorn in you.
there's more, I guess there's more happy in that for me, just to be able, because it lends a different scope. You can just simply see somebody, because I'm really bad at accepting things. So I guess in a way I don't want to put somebody else in a situation to feel as though they are beholden to an individual. If something just shows up,
It
take
is
it
what
and
it is.
go,
Mhm.
pay it forward. And, so nobody, so somebody doesn't feel like they're in a position to look back to think, but they can keep their focus forward and pay it forward and just know that the human value of being seen is so significant. Dave Fenoy is one of the uh, everybody for sure. I had a particular interaction with Dave Fenoy, which was meaningless and not memorable to him because it's just who he is. Yet to me, it was very significant. It was at the a Museum of the Moving Image in Queens. It was a Sovas event, and I had um the atrium was empty. He had come in, and I think everybody had gone into the theater to be seated. I was trying to do unsuccessful selfies or whatever it was because I look at me cleaned up. And as he was coming in, I'd been in the room with him before, but I'd never met him. And I'm like, oh, well, there's Dave Fenoy. And I sort of threw him a, hey, I don't, because I'm awkward. And and he smiled and waved at me like we were old friends. But it wasn't fake. I've been in radio for years. I know that. I know what that feels like. That insincere. Hey, and but there was no reason why he should necessarily have known who I was, and he talked to me like he did. But he said, "Oh, I've read your posts on Facebook. We're friends on Facebook." And he may as well have said, and this was years ago, this was early, this was young in the whole thing, and that he saw me. He saw me. Now, and that was not in the sense of, oh, he knows who I am. He was under no obligation whatsoever to stop and talk to me. It was at best a transient encounter. We were both kind of headed toward the same place, into the thing to be seated. He socially obligated to nothing more than that, you know?
That's awesome.
And there would have been nothing unacceptable about that.
True.
But he didn't. He saw me. And he took that time. And he told me as a human, you are here. And not, I think it's more impacting because of his success and accomplishments in the industry, that as a newer talent, to be seen by somebody who is a successful and established talent. I want to steer away from certain words because most people to whom those words apply in this industry, they really don't roll around in them. If you're famous, you're famous. That doesn't mean that you wear it. And that is just so significant. And I think what keeps this industry so close and so real to each other is that we see each other, and that matters, and it made a huge difference.
Well, that's a ridiculously beautiful story.
I
I
don't
could
know.
talk to
I
you
don't know where it
forever
came
and a
from.
day.
Oh my gosh! Look, I kept you
But
guys on the line for so
no,
long.
no. I have one more question. Then I'm going to make you tell us where everybody can find you and all your contact information.
Oh.
Mhm. Steven, do you have any questions for my last question?
Go for it.
No? Awesome. Well, I want to know, and I know you personally, like very, very personally, this is so near and dear to me, but one piece of Jenn to give to the VO community that, it may not be a good time to start, or you may be having a rough patch or whatever, but if you can just say anything to anybody, even in or out of the industry, give us a little bit of Jenn wisdom.
Be you. And it's so damn cliche. But we live in a world where there's a lot of not real. there's there's your eloquence. People are starved for authenticity. And if you can give yourself permission, whether you are just stepping in or you're established and need to, you're in a slump or a rut, because that happens too, the ebb and the flow, you have to give yourself permission to interpret what you're doing and make sure that whatever it is you are putting out to the world, whether it's on a microphone or at a gas station where you make eye contact with the person that you are having the transaction with and you smile, because we smile with our eyes. And
Especially now that we're all wearing masks.
I'm sorry, I got choked up for a second.
No, that's all right. I was trying to lighten the moment.
But that's just it. With all these, with the masks, we have to remember that we smile with our eyes. And I really hope that when the day comes that we don't have to do the masks now, that people remember that we smile with our eyes. So when we have a smile on our face, if it's authentic, it shows in our eyes. And right now, that's all we fucking got to go on. And so that sincerity that we have to make sure is real, that when we say thank you, when we tell somebody through fucking plexiglass that they are appreciated for what they do, for showing up. And it applied a year ago as much as it does today. Only today we have more barriers to expressing it. So the more we have a general sense, a deep and real sense of gratitude for things going on around us, those things will experience it. And maybe we have to be more mindful today because we've got plexiglass and we've got masks and we've got hysteria and we've got angry people and we've got scared people and everything is just a giant cluster. And so I feel like whether we're on the microphone or out in the wilds, the way we now must communicate is from a very real place, because things that help us cover up bullshit have sort of been taken away. So, you can't have a fake smile. You can have a fake smile, but if it's covered, why bother?
Exactly.
And so if people never had, not a now more than ever it's important, but now more than ever it's more easily understood, I think, that authenticity and gratitude and a genuine sense of connection to whatever you're conveying. Thank you for the coffee. I really appreciate you. To something off the page into a microphone. If it's not coming from someplace that's real, if it's not coming from someplace that we don't connect with, then it's bullshit all day long, and people know that. Because our crutches are gone. Our crutches are gone. If we had crutches before, you got to kick them out and keep walking. And because it's what we have, because it's what we bring, because it's what we have. And you can't be afraid of how it's going to be received, because you don't know.
Screw him, Angus.
Yes. You don't know. You don't know. You can't worry about booking something. You can't worry if somebody's going to smile back.
Not an industry to wear your heart on your sleeve.
No. Do, honor the opportunity. Give yourself to what you're doing.
And let it go.
And let it go.
Great advice.
Jen, I can't tell you how much this has meant to me.
Me? Are you
if-
kidding? You asked me to do this, and I'm like, what?
Well, I mean, if I start talking about me and you, we're both going to be cutting onions. So,
Oh yeah,
will you-
just don't even.
no, I won't. I won't. Will you
Yeah.
please tell everyone where they can find you?
It's Jenn with 2 N's, which is not part of my branding. It was kind of short-sighted to spell my name that way because it's just how I spell my name. It's Jenn with 2 N's, JennHenryCreatives.com.
Nice.
Thank you, Karen, and the guys at Voiceover website Voiceovers for that beautiful work. It was so much fun. And of course on Facebook, Jenn Henry. That's that. I live too much of my world on Facebook, so
We're on there quite a bit.
Shut up, Steven.
It's all good. I love reading everything you have to say.
Steven. Ooh, Steven.
You know, I'm always commenting on your stuff.
Don't be judgy. Are you being judgy?
No, I wouldn't do that.
Don't be judgy.
You guys are so crazy.
No, I wouldn't do that.
You might.
I wouldn't.
Don't be catty.
Okay.
No, it
Well,
is. That's
guys.
my outside to the. It's my sort of it's my conduit to the outside world.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just a cellar dweller in my.
This is the same for us. This is like a
Yeah,
way for us to
seriously.
get out and talk to people and kind of feel like we're hanging out again.
Hey, deodorant.
And Steven
put on
likes these
deodorant.
interviews.
You don't know if
because
I'm wearing any or not.
at least we're on these interviews. I have a shirt on. He's like, "Thank you, Jesus."
Yeah, right?
Me too.
Because last time.
It looks like an albino gorilla. It's crazy. No bueno. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been VO in Stereo again with your host, Jared Breshers, along with
Stephen Coghill and
Jenn Henry. Oh, oh, oh.
You're so silly.
Oh, love you, girl.
Silly.
Thank you, for everyone coming. We'll be back soon.
See ya.
bye.